live and streaming.
We're ready.
That hammer drops.
Let's call our meeting to order then. I have reviewed both minutes and agenda. I don't see anything to comment on with either one of them. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very straightforward. Good. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? I hear nothing, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as written, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, kids, we're on a roll. There are no members of the public here today? God, man, this is remarkable. And we have, for the second time, well, almost a full slate of commissioners here, which is really great. I love it. So we have no public comments. So Sean, as you heard, it's his wife's birthday, and they're having a party. But there's no new news on the bike park front, from what I understand. So we can do that. Shade canopies of Benton and Candy Cane Parks. Who wants to talk about that?
Well, I can. They're done and installed, so the contractor got done. They're canvas shade canopies, so they put them up and took them back down, and then we'll put them back up in the spring, of course.
Satisfactory project, everything went
Yep.
smooth and nice?
Yep, it's all good. Yeah,
Did the city do it or did the contractor do it?
contractor did it, yeah.
Who did it? Gordon?
Gordon Contracting.
Yeah.
That's the name of it.
So then, does the contractor put the canopies up and down or regular?
Well, they did to test it, but now there are, so we'll do that every year, just
Okay.
like Max Square, we put it up, take it down in the winter.
Okay.
In your, the other canopy or structure, shade structure, What was-
Which one?
The
bike
one
park.
out here.
what was,
Oh,
You-
that's
that was
my,
the
that's
engineering
my staff
budget.
report.
Yeah, that's,
So you'll have to wait.
that is the staff report.
Hold
You'll have
your
to
breath.
wait.
Hold your
Yeah.
breath. You haven't heard anything else from Head Start about,
Yeah, that meeting is scheduled for next week. We're gonna get together with CHD and Head Start and talk about who's paying for what and what funding's coming from where and what kind of plan we think and that kind of thing, so yeah. Yep, that's moving forward,
all right.
but I don't know if anybody has any money, but if, we're gonna get together and talk about it.
All right.
Rob
Okay.
is good at writing grants.
I don't think he has to. I think this is just emergency money he has to spend.
Oh, well,
have to
even,
have-
yeah.
I think. I don't know yet. We'll see
That's,
what the
that's the
meeting
Head
says.
Start guy.
The Head Start Director, Robert
Yeah.
Klein, yeah.
Okay.
Not sure what he's got in mind, but.
All right. So Splash Pad, is in a process of comments being taken on one of two choices for the structure, and I think we have some pictures.
Pictures. Ooh.
Whoa.
Okay, so there were several designs submitted. Too much. Anyway, this is one of the designs that was picked. They took kind of two and molded them together. There was a combo, but this was the final product of one design, and I think,
Is that at the footprint that's of the current area there?
yeah,
Okay.
yep. So here's some other views of it.
It just looks weird with the fence around it, no
Yeah.
building by
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
The other design you'll see the building in actually. Anyway, they wanted lots of color. They wanted squirt guns to shoot each other, which you're seeing in the foreground. They wanted a tunnel, which you're seeing in this picture right here. This is the tunnel thing they wanted right here. And they wanted lots of little fountain things like this. And they wanted a big dump bucket like this. Those were the criteria that they came up with. So you can see that that blue thing kind of sprays water out of all kinds of angles. There's some squirt gun things. There's all kinds of interactive stuff. There's a little water table there for younger ones. There's some, you can roll or walk up to the table and interact with the water that way. Also, there's the tunnel feature. You can see the close-up of the water spraying from every direction in that one. That's pretty, I like that one a lot. That's cool. And that just talks about different age group and zones. So that's one example. Here are the others coming at you in a minute. Let's see. How come I didn't want to go over there? Okay, here. Here it comes. Here's another vendor. This is the second choice. You can see there's the squirt gun things, lots of little fountains, the big dump bucket, there's a ladybug over there. You can see the tunnel feature. This in the foreground, there's a kind of an on-off button timer switch that they illustrated. There's the overhead view, maybe. Here's the overhead view. I assume that bottom right will have color in it. They just added that in kind of the last minute, but that's the overhead
What
view.
is that thing?
It's a table. It's a water table.
Is that gonna be the same footprint size as the first
Yeah.
image we saw?
Yeah, and this one shows the pool building, like to Darren's point. There's the pool building right next to it. Yep, same exact footprint. It'll be a full tear out. It's not like we're gonna reutilize the concrete or anything that's there. There's the table. You can see it a little better there. So lots of bright colors and interesting. So next up for them is to propose to the public these two designs and then see what the feedback is. And then January, February-ish, have the budget narrowed down and start fundraising.
They'll all hold up over the winter?
The winterization for these is just a drain, it just drains away, so you don't have to blow them out or anything.
Stu, did that first submission, did that have benches or anything? Because
No,
I'm
this one-
concerned about little kids and they slip and they whack their head on something solid.
It has picnic
tables.
tables at the side.
Yeah, but that's
There's a
off
bench.
to the side. The bench is to the side though, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
is it still in there? You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't. What are you saying?
I'm saying that if you look on that first one there, there's not a whole lot within that blue area where if the kids fall, they're gonna whack their head against
Yeah.
Oh,
a stone
yeah,
or a
Versus
seat.
the other one, which had
Yeah.
benches inside it.
And the other one, I mean, it's more open play area, while the other one is, I don't know. There were some seats in there.
has these rocks for one thing.
Yeah.
Committee like those. The benches are meant to be in this one in replacement of the fence.
Okay,
To keep people kind of a border. What you're seeing in that final picture
Yeah,
there
if you
was, these are inside, that's because they forgot to move them, they should be
Okay.
outside, they'd be out here,
Okay.
on the border. So all the benches would be around the outside, or, benches slash fencing. I think that was their theory when they designed that.
and what was the third picture that you showed of that one? There was another one, that last scene. Okay, those are the rocks and stuff, and
Yeah.
so the benches will be outside. Okay,
Right.
And
they'd be
are
outside.
those rocks? What are those things that look like rocks?
They're rocks you can jump on.
but if it's wet, I mean.
Yeah.
you know,
I haven't asked that question.
Okay,
I would assume they would have to use some type of non-slip surface on it.
Yeah, it's not like they're real rocks or anything.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I'm sure they're engineered for it.
thank you.
The decking will probably be the decking we have at the pool, it'll just be colored. This one, these are renderings, right? Just look at the Riverside ones, they look very similar to what we have. It's not exact, right? So they're just illustrations, and sometimes people can't get those little details out of their head. Not that those aren't good points, Steve, they
Yeah, I
really are.
understand.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Gotcha,
right, these are things that can change over time. It could be just one bright color, it could be just a couple, maybe it's gonna be all these colors, depending on the feedback, I guess.
My other concern about the bright colors is, and maybe this is a New Mexico thing, but that would get hot in the summer, wouldn't it? The darker colors?
There's gonna be water,
Water.
so
Yeah.
I don't know.
evaporating water's gonna
Yeah,
carry heat
it's-
away.
Well, that will help, but if if there's an off switch and it hasn't been, the water hasn't been on,
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't thought about it. I haven't asked that question either.
And fading too.
Yeah, they'll fade a
I
little
don't,
bit.
I don't know that it would be any hotter than just concrete, so.
Yeah, I don't know, I have no idea.
Edmonds is where we used to install the splash pad right before we left.
Cool.
They have the benches around it,
That's on the outside.
and it was safe enough. It's, yeah,
Yeah, the bench is on the outside.
Yeah.
Not the inside
No.
that they show.
here,
Right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
and it allows the parents just to sit and watch
And move the
Right,
table,
and not get
move the
too wet.
benches.
You do get wet, but the dump bucket is the big thing.
That's a popular thing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really in fact, the way they have that, most kids run away from it as it
Yeah.
dumps, so that having those things right close by seems a little,
Well, it's probably kinda hard to see, I don't think
Yeah.
they're exactly close by. It's kinda hard to see.
yeah,
But, yeah, I think this is the closest toy. And
yeah.
Till you see the overhead, you see this distance right here, that's, yeah, that's on purpose probably, right? Anyway, these guys are the pros, I didn't
Yeah.
design it, I don't know those rules, but, overall, yeah, any other thoughts, or,
I like the idea of the zone kind of thing with a toddler zone and a up to 7-year-old and then a all-purpose zone.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
you can have more direct parental hands-on in
the smaller kids, yeah?
the smaller kids area. That's pretty cool. All right.
Yeah, so soon that'll hit the public,
Um,
and then, we'll go. from there.
So I have a question is, how is this gonna get circulated to the community? Do you have a plan for that?
Well, social media, direct emails, we'll engage the media partners. And then, it'll all direct back to what Chris doesn't know is he's gonna do a Google form and set it up, and it's gonna be epic.
Good job,
Thanks, Chris, appreciate that.
stepping up.
Yeah, he really is.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's gonna be a thoughtfully designed form that is just, minimal questions.
Yeah, that's correct. It's gonna be really good. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Very exciting.
It is. All right, so, any more comments or thoughts about the splashy paddy? All right, so, the next thing we have to talk about is the concessionaire vendor issue. You all remember that we had Rotary, it was Rotary, not
Optimus.
Optimus
Yeah.
here, kind of, what? Concerned about, people stepping on their perceived toes. And what came out of that was, well, we can't really, in all fairness, accommodate you and give you kind of a monopoly over concessions, Pioneer anyway. And then we thought, well, we should really discuss this and come up with a policy for the department that will govern everybody and ensure kind of a level playing field.
I have
Stuart.
I have a couple of handouts when you're ready after your preamble.
Okay, so, we don't have to come up with the wording of a policy tonight, but I thought that what we should try to do is look at any examples, if Stu has some examples, and also kind of just brainstorm about what the goals, what the commission's goals might be for the yield from concessions for the community and for Parks and Rec Department. That might be monetary, that might be money going to charity, it might be, simply feeding the masses. You know, I'm not sure, but, that might be a good kind of ground plan for developing wording and stuff like that. So I'm totally gonna throw it open, and Stu has some, you said you did have some verbiage.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, so a couple of things. This, I think I printed 5, maybe there's not enough. This is our current sort of permit that we use for our shaved ice vendor that lives at Riverside Park in the summer. It's pretty straightforward. Take one and pass it on. It says that you'll, basically pick up garbage. You're gonna pay us $500 to be there. You can use our electricity. We're gonna dump your garbage, but you're gonna take care of your commercial garbage, like the supply garbage, right? Not the wrappers from everybody,
Hot
Yeah.
dogs, yeah.
whatever. We're not gonna, we'll obviously still patrol the park or whatever. So that is just, that's what we currently have. And in that, it says you have to have a health department permit, it says you have to have a business license, it says you have to have liability insurance, and essentially pick up your garbage and then pay a fee. So, that, is it $550? Yeah, $550, 500 plus 50,
Plus
and
50, yeah.
plus coupons, right, for Chris's summer camps. So, that.
I'm sorry, 500 is per event or
Per year.
per
No, this
year?
For this.
For the season.
Season.
And it should delineate, yeah, from June 14th to,
Yeah.
that said August 31st or whatever she said, September
Mhm.
10th or whatever it is. So that's what we currently use. So that's fine. I'm gonna show you kind of a Portland example here. This is kind of, well, as you can see, food, beverage, and product sales. So if you wanna sell products in Portland Parks, a permit's required. So there's some general guidelines here. You can rent equipment, some parks have, I don't know, you can rent there could be a vendor that wants to rent kayaks at Morgan Lake, and they could set up shop there and pay us a fee, and then they could rent kayaks, for example. That's kind of the equipment example. And then it talks about different kinds, and we can go into this a little bit more, but it's doesn't exactly fit our model, but there's some interesting language in here. So it talks about stationary sales, which is kind of what we are thinking. It also talks about, ice cream vendors and trucks that might come through parks, which would not be stationary, obviously.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I just like this upcoming state swim meet, if they wanted to have like 2 or 3 food trucks out there.
Right.
We don't have an agreement for that.
Right.
So,
All we have is this right
Yeah.
now.
so, yeah,
And they signed this agreement,
well,
This
this is for a season, but we don't have anything for like a weekend.
per day or whatever, yeah.
so the swim vendor being the
Well-
example of that.
Yeah, if a food truck wanted to come in and serve this big
Sure.
group of people at the swim meet.
But that's usually not what happens with swim meets. Usually the swim team will they'll run a food thing or whatever. They usually don't bring it out to us outside vendors. At least they never have in my experience.
But to your point, I mean,
Yeah.
Possible.
you all could require that
Yes.
of events that happen in the park, including the pool. You could say, look, you don't get to, as a part of the pool rental, you don't get to, provide a vendor. We do that. We collect that money.
Mhm.
That's not
So
how we do it.
what if somebody just parked a food truck across the street?
Then we wouldn't,
Is that included, or do they have to be parked in a particular
No.
location?
if they're off grounds, we don't have anything to say about that.
Okay.
But
No.
city ordinances would apply.
Yeah, I don't think you just park in the street or a parking spot, being a vendor, but I don't know their ordinance for that.
Oh, okay.
The one example here is the shaved ice vendor here locates on the school property because they can't be in the park, because they didn't choose to be in the park, and there's no electricity here for them over there. So they decided, okay, we'll just go on the neighboring property and essentially be the park.
Mhm.
but they still needed this
Nope.
permit,
No.
oh,
This is for, Riverside.
Riverside.
oh, I get it, okay.
Yeah,
Stu, I understand that it's up to us to decide what kind of policies we want to make and so forth like that, but I would say at a minimum, anybody who is providing some kind of service on the property, whether it's for 1 hour, 1 day, or all summer, they need to have a liability
insurance.
insurance, just right off the top of the head. I mean, yeah, you have to,
And as a good example, the swim club takes on that liability now.
exactly.
Because we don't, if there was a lawsuit brought, I'm sure the city would get named.
Yep,
But ultimately, the insurance is through the club or the team or whoever.
okay, and then just as a background, if the city was to go ahead and be joined in a suit, what's the liability policy as far as the city in terms of the amount? I mean,
I think it's 2 million per occurrence, and
is
the
it something
certificate
like
of
that?
liability
Yeah,
insurance.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is, you can look at this if you want to on your own, but.
Could you send out the link?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. So this just talks about all kinds of different, mobile units and vending units, and then the policy guidelines, general guidelines is not working. Okay, what are we doing? Here it goes. And this document is more, I mean, this is obviously several pages long, but it has a lot of good information in it about what kind of we're talking about. There's indemnification language, there's insurance stuff, there's licenses and fees, et cetera, right? So this is all good stuff, I thought. But I don't think we need something this robust, but it'd be good to steal some language out of here, potentially, if we had some sort of guide, because which kind of leads me to this other page that I'll give you this is from my old job, 12, 15, 20 years ago. But this is a vendor application, this is kind of the flip side, and how we selected them, because potentially you could say, well, I like you better than you, so you're gonna be able to vend in the park, but you're not. So this talks about requirements of menus and the selection process, which is done by a committee, and it talks about some of the same insurance indemnification language, et cetera. So that's something to consider too, is do we need to have a process, which is also outlined in some of this part of the language? What's the selection process? Can anybody vend if they're selling, I don't know, name your controversial whatever? Will we just allow anybody? Is there a process to disallow folks or whatever? So, something else to think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, so I can think of 2 topics for discussion right off the bat.
Let me just interrupt you
go.
one last time. And let me just preface this conversation that's about to happen with, we don't have a problem right now necessarily, except when there's a big tournament that comes, or or Optimus thinks that they can legislate what happens in this park. Just recently, they dropped off a thing with Chris to give to me, or maybe not to give to me, but they dropped off a letter to me saying that they've sublet their concessions to
I can't remember.
somebody
Yeah.
that is gonna be authorized to sell concessions at the park because they don't have enough volunteers to do it, right? Well, I don't think that's the spirit of what you guys want to sponsor. So in other words, they're saying, sure, you can use Pioneer Park to sell things and we'll get the profits or part of the profits. In other words, Bob's Burger Wagon is gonna sell, and that he's gonna give blank % to the Optimus Club, and nothing to the city, which isn't necessarily their right, in my opinion. So that's something they just dropped off Chris, and it wasn't.
Mark, you're standing up. Are you in a rush a little bit?
I have to go teach a class.
Do you want to say anything about, we could just take a very quick break. Is there anything that we need to know in terms of your departmental report?
I don't think so, other than we have the district swim meet,
Next
happening this year.
No, it's in February.
Oh, yeah,
So
the
we'll
one
have-
with
There's a
Cove,
home meet
Cove
this
is
weekend.
next
Yeah,
week,
so we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4A schools all here competing, so that's
Just,
kind of a,
just for the district, so it's,
yeah,
we're talking about, what, 10 teams or so?
yeah, so a lot more than normal, but yeah.
It's a big deal for us.
It is.
Other than that, the big one was the boiler is now working since Avista came and figured out that we weren't getting enough gas, so.
Yeah.
So it was just shutting itself off because it didn't
Yeah.
sense enough gas flow?
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
interesting.
just sucking all the gas out of the line.
Yeah.
And it just couldn't recover fast enough, so.
Right.
The walls don't rain anymore, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing I was thinking about, and this went to lessons, but when we do the third grade lessons, do we have an option for like homeschool kids?
Mhm.
Oh, we do,
Yeah.
okay.
yep, yeah, they're kind of the
And this
easiest
school
group.
and
Yeah,
every school
they're
even
sort
different.
of the easiest group to
Yeah.
schedule, cause there's not as many of them.
Yeah,
But yeah, yep, we definitely include them.
Good, thank you, Mark.
Okay, alright,
Okay.
thanks guys, sorry
Go
I
get
have to
'em, bud.
fill out.
So we have to tell the Optimus clubs that we haven't abrogated any of our rights.
Oh. I think that
Well,
might be-
first, what we need to do is develop a policy, that's what we're trying to start the conversation tonight.
Great.
Yeah.
And then whatever that policy outlines, it'll look something like that, but much simpler. And then, I can tell them like, no, this is the policy and this is, you can certainly operate in the park. They have a unique relationship because they donated a lot of labor and money to that concession building. So it's theirs, in my mind, in a way. We're not gonna make them pay rent. We're not gonna make them give us money, because they've already invested in infrastructure for us, and they continue to do that. And we have to maintain that relationship, right? But, on the flip side, there has to be some sort of rule of order. Anyway, I'm just letting you know, there's not really a problem right now, so we have to be mindful of that moving forward, and we don't wanna create more problems, but we also wanna have a clear policy and a good discussion, so I'll be quiet and go ahead, thank you.
So I just have two things that have come into my mind through what we've talked about so far. One of them is, a good decision point is, do we want to direct revenue from concessions in our parks towards nonprofits and charitable organizations? Or do we think that we could legitimately rent to purely for-profit businesses? Could we do that? So that's a decision point, right? So in other words, do we wanna, on a busy night at Riverside Park, have a business come in, get a vendor's license and sell purely for profit, not supporting any kind of non-profit or charitable organization? And I have no dog in the fight, but that's a good thing for us to think about.
That's what we currently do. We have one
Yeah.
nonprofit and one for-profit.
yep.
Ian had for each vendor, or I'm not sure,
Well-
or if we have two vendors.
We have two vendors. One is a
One for-
nonprofit here at the, and one is the ice cream or the snow cone. at
Right.
Riverside.
Okay.
So that's an open topic, you know, we could make a rule that said only nonprofits can operate in the park. Or we could say, well, it doesn't matter, you know,
We-
as long as you meet these other criteria, it doesn't matter.
There are, I mean, yoga in the park, there could be a yoga instructor who wants to hold their class. Are we gonna say, no, you can't do that?
Very interesting, absolutely.
So, I think what we're saying is, if we have a policy that they have to have a certain amount of insurance and stuff to operate. And I don't know if we charge them or what, but we need to have a policy.
Okay, so that's a really interesting point, John, you know, is somebody that's leading an activity, if I wanna give guitar lessons by a
Commercial.
park bench,
Yeah.
and I'm a music school,
I'm doing Tai Chi.
yeah,
Yeah, I
is
mean,
that,
As a
are
community
you a
service,
vendor
people
at that
might be-
point?
Might be paying $10 for it or whatever.
Really interesting. And I'm not sure exactly what the answers are, but these are the questions we need
Yeah,
to keep in mind. So the second thing, I think that came into my mind was, I believe that the farmer's market has some kind of policy about political organizations? No, yes, no?
I have no idea.
Okay, so that's another thing which,
Yeah, I don't know what you want. It can't work.
well,
No,
you
no,
know.
no, you might as well,
Well, we already have
Step
it.
up
I
to
mean, I've been to Riverside before and they've had services there with very loud music, which I don't, you know.
This is religious organizations? So I'm not necessarily thinking about religious organizations, that might be a huge can of worms. But,
Well, we've had
political tables.
Charlie Kirk,
Well,
they
you're- so-
just paid as an
I
organization.
was just gonna say, you're talking about two separate things.
Yeah.
These are people that rented space.
Yeah,
That essentially, when you rent it, you do what you want.
yeah.
Cause the city's not, this is a city sponsored thing
Yeah.
we're talking about. Vendors go through the city
Yeah.
rentals. I mean, Chris can have he can have a funeral, he can have a dance party, he can have a church service, he can have whatever you want, if you're gonna rent the park, as long as it's within the rules of
All of the above
the parks.
at once.
okay, so people generally feel that that's not an issue that we need to be concerned with.
we're talking just about vendors, or perhaps when we say vendors, providing a service, and whether they charge for it
Commercial
Or-
activity.
or just for free too. You know, so
Well, for free, they're just
So-
recreating.
So what if somebody's setting up a booth and selling Nazi paraphernalia? I'm just saying.
If they're selling Nazi paraphernalia.
That's commercial, and
That's-
that's a commercial activity, and it would have to go through this process.
yeah.
But that's your point, right? Like, do we need to put that in the policy somewhere?
Well, that
It's,
isn't that one of the things used, like the selection process, that form, wouldn't that come into that? Like you have the right to choose
so
who.
we probably wouldn't have a right to say what kind of merchandise you were selling in general if you were selling merchandise and you had a permit. Sell pretty much anything you wanted.
I don't know.
Okay, well, it's something to think about.
Something to think about, that's all right.
And so this would apply for baseball tournament. There's a vendor out there selling baseball shirts,
Mhm.
right?
The sticky part of this is exactly what you said about the swim club. So the swim club rents the pool for the day, or baseball rents the field for the day, and they have their own t-shirt vendor come out and sell. They get the profits or part of the profit, just like the club gets part of the
You have
concession
the
profit.
concessions, yeah.
So that's something you guys need to deliberate a little bit at some point, not tonight maybe, but something to think about.
So one, can I step in?
Sure.
One way of thinking about that would be that almost every sports organization is either a nonprofit recreational organization, which is one kind of club,
Mhm.
or actually a nonprofit. And we could easily have a clause that would say the organization, the nonprofit organization, which is organizing the sports activity, may sell food or merchandise at that activity as part of their permit to do the activity. So if it's a multi-league, multi-team softball tournament being organized by some umbrella organization, they could sell stuff as part of their permit, because again, they're a nonprofit.
Yeah, it would get tricky. So again, I'm gonna use a swim club because that's my best frame of reference, and that is when we host swim meets, whether it's the club or the high school, then we organize concession sales, and so that's all being done by people from the team.
Volunteers, yeah.
Your volunteers, right? But there's also, for something like the district meet, you might have t-shirt sales where now you've got the team cannot do that, so they work with a local person to come in and do t-shirts on the day. And people are buying those t-shirts, and that is going to the vendor, not necessarily to the team. And so, while it's been organized by the team, that is definitely a vendor, right? So, doing a service, I mean, that's something that's wanted. The way around that is that the last time I was involved with district meet, we pre-ordered shirts. They didn't make them there; they just had them. So then that gets rid of that possibility. But I think that if it's not the delineation is the team. If it's done by the team, whether it's baseball or softball, then for their purpose, it's fine. But if they're bringing an outside vendor, it doesn't matter if they brought him in or if they just came in, then it would have to fall under the vendor policy and they'd have to be evaluated. That's really the dividing line. I don't think there's any other way to do it in a fair way.
Like the Pepsi trailer, has an outside vendor?
We use the Pepsi trailer, the team
The
runs
team
it.
runs it.
So
though.
it's just
I got you.
the club is just using it, they donate that to the,
Yep.
for use during the,
So if you hire an outside somebody to offer a service or sell a product,
it would be a vendor, that would be a vendor, because now it's not being controlled by the organization anymore, other than they contract with them to come in, so they become an outside vendor. So that just, keeps it clean that way, because now we're not trying to build in so many exceptions, and I guess that's the other thing, if you wanna build in exceptions, then everybody's gonna find a loophole and be able to work it in.
So right now, we don't have any rules. If the swim club wants to do concessions and they wanna invite a vendor to sell t-shirts, it's a free-for-all.
Yep.
Okay,
And
so
that way-
if we change things, it might rub people wrong.
it might.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
We're
just
talking huge
wanna know what the
fees,
stakes are.
so, I mean-
No, well, $500.
No, that's for a season, a day.
No, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that something like that, yes, it would, I think even $100 might make a difference, and so I think that being mindful of the fee is important, but I think that for purposes of not going down the exception rabbit hole, it would
Yeah.
be better to just, if it's not being run by the organization, if they're contracting out at their, then it goes under the vendor rule.
So each team should be able to find a volunteer that will sell the team's t-shirts or whatever merch. And the team should have those silkscreen themselves,
They
and
could.
they get the profit from it.
Well, if again, we're going down the rabbit hole, so a team could purchase a bunch of shirts, bring them to the pool and sell them themselves, so that they've already paid for them, so now that money's coming to them, that's not an outside vendor, that's the team.
Yeah.
If they bring a t-shirt person to the pool to stamp out names and things like that on the shirts, now it's an outside vendor. The nuances are many, and that's why, as long as, I think if it's any outside vendor, they have to go to the vendor rule. But if the team chooses to buy all the shirts, they also eat it if the shirts don't get purchased. That's a risk. So, and I've seen teams lose their shirt before.
Literally.
But it's-
Long
Have,
sleeve.
have we beaten this dead horse for the evening, or is there more to be said?
Stu, you're gonna send us a link to that
Sure.
up there? Okay.
Sure, it's one example, there's many, but
Exactly, let's just start. Thank you.
You're gonna come up with some wonderful language for us to look at.
Well,
I can endeavor to maybe peel this apart a little bit.
We can't be reinventing the wheel, somebody's got this.
Maybe, yeah.
if anybody, any of the commissioners have inspirational thoughts, just ideas about this, and you wanna jot them down and bring them to the next session, that would be incredibly helpful.
I do have one question about the second one. So this was vendors applying for spots. This here, this is not the same thing as as a shaved ice stand, for example. That's just a permit for them to be out there.
Sure.
This vendor form was for, that we're gonna have this
Selection.
event, and so you're gonna apply to be at it. Yeah, that's.
Which would have been helpful for maybe Little League if they were
Yeah.
doing their selection process during the Little League tournament.
Yeah, right, yeah, okay, sorry, I just wanted clarification on that,
And I just wanted to rewind to John's initial point when Optimus came in, his thought was, okay, well, why do they get to say that, or why would they think that, right? So I think it's important to talk about the entire reason we started this conversation too. Do you wanna just summarize that?
Well, I think there just should be an agreement that sets out the policy. And if they're a little different, that's fine, but they still like, they should pay some, even if that money then goes back into the building, they're just making a contribution to keeping it up.
Okay, so when you say agreement, I heard you say two words, agreement and policy.
Yeah,
So that's why I wanted to
Yeah.
delineate, because is your mission as a group an agreement that we just need to develop that's like a 3-pager? Or is it a policy, which is more like a 10-pager?
I think historically, they've got something going on and we need an agreement with them.
Okay.
But there also, I think there needs to be a policy, at least for a day use. Because right now, if a food truck pulls up in here, they can start serving and we can't say anything, right? We can't say, do you have insurance? Have you been?
Well, no, I do.
Yeah.
People try that all the time.
Yeah.
The ice cream truck came in here last summer and I was like, no, you can't,
So-
you have to be out on the road. or
So
on the
then
sidewalk."
why can't we, if we had a policy or a policy that they pay $50 at
Then
some,
they
yeah,
Then they,
so it kind of,
So there obviously is some policy, if you can tell the ice cream truck they can't be in there.
Well, it's the city
No.
ordinance. You can't vend in a city park without permission. That's the
Without
city ordinance.
Meeting
Right,
the
but that's a
criteria on
policy.
the
I
application.
mean, that is
right?
the policy.
that
That's
is-
the ultimate policy.
Yeah.
That's the ordinance. Yeah. So that's why I had to go out and say, I'm sorry, you can't park in the middle of this park while baseball's happening and sell something.
so then if someone's having a yoga class, do you go up and say, is this a commercial activity?
If
And
they're
sorry,
selling something, yeah,
Or if they're charging or something.
sure.
But if it's free, it's not a big deal.
I
Yeah,
agree,
there's
if
no way
it's
to
free,
know.
it's,
Yeah.
but if,
I mean, if my park screws out at 9 in the morning, there's a yoga group, they're probably not gonna go up and say anything.
I know,
They
Right.
got
hey,
other
did you
stuff
guys
to
all
do.
pay for this
Yeah.
class?
Yeah.
Raise your hand.
Well,
Okay, so
yeah,
what I heard is we need an agreement maybe with just Optimus,
Yeah.
just to codify that a
Yeah.
little bit more. And then,
I feel
which,
like we might, as a baseline, need to know what the ordinance is. I mean, just so we know what is the law and what have we been doing in the past. So-
You're talking about the city's
The
food cart
city.
ordinance?
Yeah, whatever, I mean, whatever
this is what
allows
we've been doing in the past.
to go to a vendor and say you can't be here. So what's the teeth behind that?
sure, let's just pull it up super quick, it won't take long. Cause it's all online now. It's easy to find. Public conduct in parks, I think.
So you're supposed to be able to read that?
Sorry, it's pretty. Okay, well,
Authority to regulate.
regulation of activities, talks about hours, and the director has the power to do some things.
Activity fee for a fee, importance.
Reservations and fees, talks about that, but what I'm getting at is the actual rules, speed limit, park signage.
Fireworks, prevention,
So there it is, peddling is right there. No person in any city park shall sell, peddle, or offer for sale any food, liquids, edibles for human consumption, or any goods, wares, service, merchandise within blah, 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 blah. So, there you have it. That's the actual language.
Okay.
Within the park, except,
Except with authorization from the director and then only subject to such laws and regulations.
right, and director's defined as director or designee, I think. So yeah, that's the part I was trying to quote. Peddling.
So now what we're trying to do, built off of that, is figure out when the director would give permission.
Because we have an issue now based on
Yeah.
a group that came, and so essentially this is getting challenged a bit. So then
Right.
what policy are we gonna build around it?
In a sense, would it be correct to think that that's the overarching ordinance, that's the city's ordinance, and we're developing a policy
Yeah.
that's gonna define Parks and Rec's role under that ordinance?
City council changes this,
They just changed
we,
it, number 1 under Morgan Lake.
no, that didn't get changed, the
Oh.
ordinance didn't change. If you read it carefully, we didn't have to change the
Okay.
ordinance, actually. Because it says generally.
Wishy-washy language.
That's true, tell me
Yeah,
the truth,
yeah.
this is how attorneys look at things, right?
Thou shalt.
Okay,
Anyway, enough of that probably, but yeah, I'll do some more work on it. We'll see if we can come up with some things.
So, I think probably our goal should be, after our next session, to have, some kind of outline, for a policy. And, we can go forward from there.
And we have an Optimus agreement that's like 20 years old, so I'll just look it up and see what we can
Okay.
pull out of it.
Chris, why don't you go ahead and give us your,
There's kind of a lot, so, and a lot of it's just same old, so I'm just gonna hit a few things.
highlights? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have next Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., our holiday concert and lights at Riverside Park. So all our lights are up at the park, at the pavilion. We have Santa that'll be there. We have live music that'll be 4:30 to 5:30. And
Will Mrs. Santa be there?
the Santa Claus I asked for, I don't know if he has a missus.
I don't think so.
So
The woman that was at the open house, she was a little,
this is a different Santa.
Huggy.
So this is a different Santa.
okay, she,
And then Perky's, this is kind of funny because we're just talking about vendors, but I'm paying Perky's to come down and sell or distribute free hot cocoa, but also I've told them, because we don't really have an agreement, and I'm asking them to provide service that if people want coffee or cookies and things like that, they're free to sell those things. So I'm paying for the hot chocolate. They can sell if other people want things.
And that doesn't fit in an agreement
Yeah.
because it's basically the city making a decision, like, we need a vendor to
Yeah.
provide something, so we're gonna go recruit one.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, they can sell because they're there.
So they'll be down there too. So live music, Santa, Perky's, fire will be going, lights are up, so it'll be kind of cool. Then
Heaters, can we put heaters up?
yeah, we'll put heaters up too. Next thing was this Friday we have Teen Open Gym, so tomorrow night at Riveria. We're gonna try to do those once a month. I want to do it next weekend, but there's all sorts of things going on, and it's right before winter break, so I was like, let's do it before winter break. So we'll do that tomorrow night, 6 to 8. And then Arts for All got scheduled for Saturday, January 17th from 10 to noon at LMS Commons, and I have about 5-6 tables set up so far. Still trying to find other businesses and people that want to run arts tables and things like that. So those are the kind of quick highlights. Youth basketball registration's open, adult basketball registration's open. So,
On the youth basketball, do we do anything grades 7 through 12?
no, that is all high school and middle school. I've tried to coordinate like teen rec leagues.
It just doesn't.
There's just not, it's like in my communication with the middle school and the high school coaches, because that would be helpful for them to kind of like take part in that a little bit, and they kind of want no part of it, and it's hard to kind of weave your way through that. Summertime would be the best time to do those, when they're more available, but really how available are those? So it is talked about, and I've looked into it, and I've tried to find ways, and now with Riveria it's a little more possible, but it's just about getting it out there, which I'll try to do this summer. It's also limiting, there's not like I can offer several sports.
Yeah.
It's like I can't offer football for 7th, 8th, tackle. It'd be like flag or 77 kind of type stuff. The other part is with those, do we do coaches? Do we not do coaches? Do we do it like where they just show up and play like it's rec? So a lot of unanswered, and that's where I was kind of reaching out to high school and middle school, and they were like, no. So, but yeah.
Cool. Director's report.
You ask your question out, John?
Oh, my question was what?
Something about the shade canopy.
Oh yeah, that one. It was, the engineer said it wasn't, so you're gonna have a.
So Sean put a roof on it this summer.
Yeah.
We had a miscommunication, and then I asked the building official to come and inspect and see if that would work as a permanent solution. He said no, it was only designed for what it is. So then Sean said we have a contractor volunteer that potentially would rebuild it so it could be a roofed structure. The other option would be some sort of fabric, probably canvas type thing.
So if we have volunteers build it, it would need some kind of basic engineer stamp.
There's no building permit required under 120 square feet, but over that, there'd be a building permit required. And it would have to be engineered.
10 by 12.
10 by 12.
What is it?
10, I don't know, bigger than that.
Bigger, it is big, okay.
Okay.
Any other questions about my stuff? Morgan Lake rule change,
What was the Morgan Lake rule change?
well, traditionally, we've had a no trespassing policy in the winter when the lake is closed, but, there's a neighbor that's caused some problems, and there's also been a lot of public outcry to access the property for snowshoeing or cross-country skiing or hiking or walking your dog. And so, met with the city attorney and the other folks and talked about what that would look like, and talked to state parks and how they do it. For example, Red Bridge is closed, but it's open for walking access. So that's all it is. It's just a rule change that says Morgan Lake is closed. Morgan Lake access is closed and restrooms are locked. There's no camping or fires or any, what's the other thing? Fishing, camping, or fires are prohibited, but it's open for walk-in use.
For winter now,
Mhm.
that's
So-
official.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
the parking lot you first drive into is the only thing open, or is it
Not even-
closed
No.
earlier, before that?
It's closed at the,
At the road,
At
isn't
the
it?
road.
at the road.
Okay.
So there's that pullover at the top, that would be a natural place to park.
Yeah, I mean, that's debatable, I guess, but the property line is the cow guard, which is before that parking area.
Mhm.
Okay.
Has the,
Neighbor.
neighbor who has objected to people been notified of this change?
Yeah, he was notified with certified mail,
Okay.
did not hear a word. So this has been in place since Monday, the 8th, and,
It's been on the Elkhorn media.
it's been
More
everywhere.
than once.
Yeah.
And just to remind the group, and I don't wanna beat this too much, is that road where it's closed right at the entrance to where you're going straight down, one of the reasons is one for keeping vehicles out that go on the side and go in the ditches. The other thing was a number of years ago, some people were up, a bunch of high school kids, they got stuck, the kid got stuck and called the mom, and the mom came up and got the kid, and the mom died or something because the car went off the road down at the very bottom. And so the idea is, let's just go ahead and see if we can, I'm not sure that a chain can be put across, but whoever plows the road can put a berm there. So,
When we get some snow.
if we get snow,
Yeah,
yeah.
if we get snow.
But anyway, that's the rationale, we're just trying to keep it right there.
And then the Idaho Power comment, anybody have any questions about that?
What is that?
I did see that, so they're doing what again? They're providing,
So,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it seems like they're gonna give us, what do you call it when you make mitigation money?
mitigation money.
Mitigation
yeah,
money,
yeah.
that could be used for the dam broaching or for the,
That's
drainage
right.
out of the
Used-
end of
used to do
Morgan Lake.
drainage, right.
yeah, so the city entered into an agreement with Idaho Power years and years ago about if they build the B2H project where they propose it with the view shed impacts of the lake, that they would compensate the city to the tune of about $100,000 for improvements to Morgan Lake Park. So we're considering if we can use that for the dam breach design and cost of construction as a part of it. It's gonna be more than that, because that's something that we don't have in our normal budget. We've got grant applications to FEMA out, and the government shutdown kind of halted that for a while, and now it's kind of back in the queue. So, to me, it just makes good sense. And I haven't talked to Idaho Power about that idea, but it's just something I wanted you guys to know is happening behind the scenes. So the work session on
I
Monday.
have to go pick up
okay,
the kid.
thank you, John.
Sorry.
See you.
Yep.
And and I don't know what the status is, but they are in the process of resurveying where that's gonna go. And the talk was that they were going to go ahead and increase the width of their line spacing, it could be up to a quarter mile or something, anyway, it could be wider. And then what was first agreed upon, and that's being, first they have to resurvey it because the original ones weren't that great, but the thought was that they had said that the line spacing is actually gonna be wider than what they first said. And I don't know where that comes in, but we can put it in the back of our heads to see what it, yeah, I mean, you don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay,
All right. If there's nothing else, we had a long session today, and I think we should adjourn our meeting and call it good.
Nice job.